I value the stuff I did with Nip. You know, it didn't chart, or I might have charted like on billboards and shit, but like I didn't get a plaque from it. But
you had a long-standing relationship with him.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did, man. I had a genuine relationship with Nip.
What was it like working with Nipsey?
Man, so I actually met Nip for the first time All-Star Weekend in Vegas, man. He wasn't going by Nip. My boy Fats introduced me to him. He was going by Slauson Boy still. We was just in the Palms, like in the lobby, and my boy Fats was like, yo, Coz, introduce you to my boy Slauson Boy. He be buying beats and shit. He was just another kid. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Didn't think nothing of it, right? Fast forward like a year or two later, Johnny Shipes hits me up. He's like, yo, I got this. I was just meeting him. And he was like, I guess what happened was he had got a beat pack of mine and Nip ended up using one of the beats. And it was a joint me and my dad actually produced together. And it ended up being a song called They Roll, which featured The Game. Nip ended up going on tour with Game after they did that record. I mean, I don't know if that was the cause, but they hit it off. And that was one of Nip's bigger, earlier records. You know what I mean? And Shipes ended up flying me to New York to go work with Nip. So the first time I met him, Vegas, I met him in LA, but the first time we really locked in was like New York. And I remember us both being locked out of the studio, waiting for them to come let us in. Him super LA'd out in New York, the Dickie shorts, wife beater, what I mean? It was hot. And me and him just talking like on the steps while we're waiting. And just like, man, it was just like like even talking, getting up halfway through, hugging. It was like my first real encounter with him, and it was super brotherly, man. You know what I mean? He was just a genuine dude. Very like a no bullshit kind of guy, low tolerance for disrespect kind of dude, but like serious about his craft, man. And like, it's like every project, even though like, I wish we would have had a bigger body of work together, man. And that's why now, like, I don't let the business stop me from working with people as much because I look back and be like, damn, if I wasn't worried about money and shit, I would have had a bigger catalog with these people and it would have meant so much more. But at that time, you don't know. You don't know what the unfortunate outcome of certain things could be. But just the short of it, man, is that, every project he did pretty much up to the end, he always reached out, always hit me up, looking for records, and we stayed in touch. And luckily, man, maybe like a week or two before he passed, I actually had, through a kid named Casey Khalil that was working with him, he cut a record. We did something new after the Victory Lap album came out. We had cut a new record. And then, I swear to God, like 5 days later, he passed away.
Wow.
But between that, like a month or so before I got, like, man, because when he was working on Victory Lap, I was blowing him up. I'm like, man, this fool ain't hitting me back, like, he ain't f***ing with me no more. But like, I was like, nah, f*** that. Like, I had like 6 numbers on him. I'm like, I'm just going to text the same message to every phone till this fool hits me back, Finally, he hit me back and I got to give him his flowers and and just tell him how solid he'd always been and blah, blah, blah. And he, told me the same. And it was like we gave each other our flowers. And then that was that, But in between that, also, I did something on the Crenshaw album. So I got to be a part of that album, which was pretty legendary. I did The Weather featuring Rick Ross. So a lot of people love that song too, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just happy I got those couple notches in the legacy with him, man. And I know I got to, give him his flowers from a grown man's, perspective, shortly before he passed. So like, yeah, those records I hold close to heart, man, because it was just a different dude, man. Somebody that invested so much into his intellect and his intelligence and investing and like all that so early on. He's way younger than me, way ahead of me, knowledge-wise, And so I just felt like, man, it was such a waste to see somebody that invested so much into himself to be this intelligent, godly dude, to just snap of a, gone like that. It was like, damn, what a waste, man.
Well, it's amazing that you got to play that part, bro. And that's also one of the dope things about being a producer is being able to develop other people's talent and see where they take it along the way, you know?
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, bro, I watched him go from, you know, mixtape Nip to victory lap Nip. And to me, like, it's gonna be so hard. Like, bro, like, you know, when Pac died, we were all looking for someone to fill that void. You had Ja Rule, you had DMX, you had these dudes come out. None of them really quite filled that void, you know? And it's like when Nip passed, man, like, that album, bro, nobody has dropped something similar since, you know? And it's like, who do we look to fill that void, that street intellectual void, you know? Like, that you're gonna buy it and we're gonna actually buy it, you know? Like who's gonna be as gangster and as smart as Nip? That's why we love Pac, because he was gangster, but he was smart. Well, some people try to discredit Pac was gangster and super smart. So it was like the phenomenon of the two. How can you be this, you know, this street dude, but with this crazy intelligence? It was like the shit that Nip and Pac were on at, you know, Pac was on in his early 20s. I still, in my 40s, haven't grasped. You know what I mean? It's just like some people just are cut from a different cloth, man. And those two dudes are definitely that, man.
I feel the same way. That's a huge loss. And yeah, I look at Nip the same way I look at Pac. It's something deeper than the music, but you know, he just meant so much to so many people. So that's incredible that you got a chance to work with him so closely for so long.
Absolutely, man. For sure.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.